Previously on Aoi Shiro.
安姫様と九郎様はあなたに剣が渡らないように800年前に封じたのですから。
なら仕方ねえ。力ずくで奪うしかねえよな。
Nami stretched out a white palm and touched Matamu's head, as if to pacify it.
マタム、わだつみの落とし子、たける形を与えられた力。
Like how a vital organ dies when it stops moving, the continually squirming body of Matamu stopped moving at Nami's words. I picked up the sword. With the sword in hand, I ran. Taking Nami's hand, I ran. In order for the Oni chasing us from behind not to catch us. Natsu-Nisan was holding back Roaryuu, but the Moryu were still chasing after us. The same as what happened to me 8 years ago.
だけど、どうしてわざわざ休みの体を？スミちゃんが私の双子の妹だから。
My ears couldn't believe what Nami had just said. Nami and Yasumi were twins? I was prepared for the sensation of hitting a hard rock. However, my back ran into something elastic that felt like a living creature. Roaryuu. It supported me and had risen up from the water's surface.
クジラ。違います。これ。
I gaped. Though it was pouring rain and the wind was howling, it was clearly visible from where it had risen from the water's surface.
マタム。
Oh, hello!
さあ、ねかた宗次。早くしないと封じが解けてしまうぞ。
Roaryuu whispered in Nakasan the same devilish voice that he used to deceive Natsu-Nisan.
娘を切るのが忍びないか。代々の当主は皆同じ苦悶につまずき、それぞれにそれを乗り越えてきたのだよ。まあ、俺が代わりにやってもいいが。
Roaryuu acted like there was no helping it, so he himself would have to do this, but was stopped by some Nakasan's voice.
無用。やるなら私がやらねばならない。
援軍到着。おさ、生きてる？
Ah, we got the whole trio here. The presence I felt from that eye.
だから前に言っただろ。お前は俺の真似してやがるって。俺のこいつは人のまぶたじゃ遮ることはできねえけどな。
The power that was bound within him by a spell had the same origin as the sword.
この老流。
Roryuu's mystic eye had the power to win against Kohaku-san's tiger eye. Captured by that, her movement was slowed down. A heavy impact ran through my body. Oh! Oh man, my arm. And now the conclusion. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Aoi Shiro. We really don't have much farther left to go from the looks of it. We have our grand end and one additional bad end, and then we're done with Aoi Shiro. So I would not be surprised at all if this could very well be the finale, this very episode right here. I'm still not quite certain where our final bad end is located here on the flowchart. I haven't had any luck running into it so far. So I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to focus on getting our grand end. And if I happen to find this remaining bad end along the way, then, well, good for us. Because, again, we really don't have much farther to go either way. So I don't really have anything else to say other than let's just see how this whole tale ends definitively, once and for all. And, yeah, good morning, Nami.
翔子先輩、おはようございます。もうすぐ夜明けかしら。それがですね、翔子先輩。
Yasumi stopped talking, indicating it was difficult to say this.
実はもう お昼近くになってたりして。
Slept in really late.
翔子ちゃん、よく寝てましたから。すごい風と雨の音、海の音と合わさって。
The sea was roaring. It was howling. It was furiously raging.
そっか、今日は九郎様のお祭りです。つまり今日中に、今日の祭りが終わる前に休みの。
Oh, whoops. If we waited for the low tide at dusk, by the time we arrived over there, it'd be past twilight and we wouldn't make it in time. What should we do?
翔子ちゃんが寝ている間にすみちゃんと相談しました。少し危険ですけど、この海を渡って浦島に行く方法があります。この嵐を越える方法があります。船も出せないこの海を。それは船より強いから。それマタム。
After taking a number of deep breaths and exhaling, she prepared her breathing.
マタム。
The power flowing out from Nami had become a thick, viscous quality to it, and became a whirl of black mist. Reflexively, I rubbed my right arm with my left. My right arm didn't have goosebumps, while on the contrary, the left arm that was doing the rubbing did.
これがマタム。怖いです。確かにそうだけど、昨日見たのよりも少し小さいかしら。
Looking at it, I had a strange feeling that its ominous, tyrannical presence was much less than before.
これより力を大きくすると制することができなくなるので、マタム、御事のりたる我がことの葉に従え。あ、本当におとなしくなった。これでもう触っても大丈夫だと思います。これに乗って海を越えるのね。はい、行きましょう。
Because of the high waves, half of Matanu was submerged as it crossed over the ocean.
すごい雨と風。振り落とされないようにするだけで精一杯ね。何？もう少し力を抜いても大丈夫よ。あなたの体は私がちゃんと支えてるから。二人分の命がかかってるわけだしね。
Since Nami was controlling Matanu, if Nami fell off, it'd be over for all of us.
大丈夫です。この方が。
A large wave crashed over our heads.
こういう時、不意をつかれず済みますし。そうね。まったく嫌な嵐だわ。なんだか私だけ楽をしてるみたいで申し訳ないです。バカ言ってるんじゃないの。あなたの体は今この瞬間にも生贄にされそうになってるかもしれないのよ。はい。すみちゃん、しょうこちゃん、もうすぐ浦島です。あ、どうしました？崖から落ちた時に剣を落としたじゃない。あれまだ海の中にあるのかなって。お姉ちゃん、もしかして海に潜るの？潜らなくても近くに乗ればマタムと剣は引き合うはずですから。わかる？わかりません。もしかしたらロウリュウがすでに引き上げたのかもしれませんし、どこか遠くに流されたかも。 翔子先輩、大丈夫なんですか？
大丈夫って何が？
だって私かなりの力を先輩からもらったんですよ。ニエの血。それに準ずる小一なら少しの量でもすごい力になるらしいけど。翔子ちゃんの血には安姫様のとても濃い血が流れているけど。
So even though I'm giving both of them power, I don't feel tired at all. That means...
なんだろう。私が疲れを自覚していないだけ？
No, I think it has more so to do with your true identity. We had crossed through a storm, an extreme situation. Perhaps a large quantity of endorphins were acting as indigenous opiates.
翔子ちゃんは普通に見える。すみちゃんにはどう見える？私も先輩は普通に。
ならそんなに休む必要はないわね。急ぎましょう。
Very convenient for us.
右腕が。
My right arm was reacting to the collision of power. I only had the handle of Kumoichi, which was cut in two, left. If I dodged the third strike, I had nowhere to escape. I was cornered. Was I cornered? No. Until the very end, I wouldn't give up. My right arm throbbed. I stuck out my empty right hand as I held onto what was left of Kumoichi in my left.
手をお取りに恐竜の構えか。
Using my right hand to stop a steel blade that could slice through an ox's neck was strange, but it was the only shield I had. This arm which I thought I had lost. Even if this arm was sliced off, if I could just hold on to my will, I would be able to fight with the remaining half somehow. I would use this hand to seal Nakata-san's blade. The horizontal slash flashed towards me, as if it were going to cleave off my head. I used the palm of my right hand to catch it. She looks like she's just going to pinch the blade. Like, how badass would that be?
竜が。
There was a technique known as the Dragon's Fang. It was a fantastical skill that could only be used once in a lifetime. I see. Using one's fingers to catch a blade wasn't without cost. Oh, you are going to use your fingers! A sharp Japanese blade could slice through even a thick skull. White fingers that were sliced off and fell to the ground looked like dragon's fangs, and that was the origin of that skill's name. However, a true dragon's fang would never break. There was a clear sound of steel resounding. My right arm sparkled like clashing steel and turned into a hard shield as it stopped that finishing blow. Then...
何これ。
What the... My right arm, which had acted like a shield, lengthened into a sharpened sword that gleamed with lapis lazuli light. That doesn't look like... It doesn't look like the sword. What is it? This was...
翔ちゃん。夏姉さん。
Natsune-san looked surprised at my right arm. However, she still looked at my face and gave a sharp nod.
ここは変わるわ。ネカタさんの相手は。
Natsune-san and Katamunutsugu faced each other. The Kenkei in black and the priest in white crossed swords and glared at each other, fighting a decisive battle.
右だ。
And then I went to aid Miiwa, who was protecting Kohaku-san, who was suffering, and couldn't move.
何
I pressed against Roaryuu with my sword arm, while he pressured me with his left eye. We both withdrew at the same time.
翔子ちゃん
Nami rushed up to me and stretched her hand towards my right arm. Starting from my right arm, all the blood vessels in my body were writhing in pain, but were soothed by Nami's white palm. Melting, crumbling, sliced, pierced, twisting, the sword which had divided into 7 or 8 parts returned to its original form.
翔子先輩大丈夫ですか？
Your voice sounds muffled, Yasumi.
大丈夫
I wonder if my arm and Roryu's eye interfered with one another. My right arm had turned into a sword because of my will to fight. Its trifling form crumbled and returned to being nothing. I didn't see anything up until this point that indicated that Shoko could possess such an ability, so this seems completely out of left field to me personally. Convenient for Shoko, but from a writing standpoint, it's just a Deus Ex Machina? Nami's power could control Matamu, might have saved me, but I myself might have caused my arm to be devoured. And I mean, to be fair, there were several other instances of such a thing occurring throughout the story, but I think this is perhaps the most blatant one I've seen so far. Perhaps Roaryuu was the same as me, because in place of an eyelid, he used his eye patch to cover his mystic eye. However, perhaps Migawa was still cautious of his left eye, because he circled around him to the right. The black crystalline halberd struck out fast as lightning and was blocked by the vermilion pole that snaked into its path.
ああそうだ恵比寿に山水振った漢字があるんだけどなんて読むか知ってるかしら
At Migawa's question, Roaryuu cocked his eyebrows and cracked the edge of his mouth.
なんて読むわけ
I didn't recall a word that looked like that. Since the word barbarian depicted someone rough and violent, perhaps the word, well, whatever that is, meant something like a pirate.
花汁よ花汁所詮目くそ鼻くその五道類ってことそうよね水の恵比寿バローリュウさん
I think she's calling you a mucus man, Roaryuu.
小娘が吠えやがったな
As Migawa drew the attention of his open right eye, I maneuvered around to the left side where his eye was covered by a patch.
ここだ
I swung a blow using my entire body.
無駄だ
Roaryuu blocked my attack.
なるほど俺が落としてやった腕は剣の力で補ったか
Well, I guess that explains the sword.
ギワンの将がサンバガラスを引き連れて鬼退治か面白いな面白いじゃねえか虎姫よさしずめお前が灰色と言ったところかしかしその組み合わせでは俺には勝てぬと伝わってるな
I've won plenty of times before in the other routes.
何の話をしているのかは知らんがくだらんざれ事はそこまでにしてもらおうか
Kohaku-sen seemed to finally be able to move her body. She glared at Roaryuu with both eyes as she held onto Homaru.
そうかよ相変わらず釣れねえやつだ
翔ちゃん
And then Natsune-san, who had defeated Nakata-san, also joined in. I wanted to see that defeat. Matamu had already been sealed, and Roaryuu was by himself. Facing him were a vanguard of 4. Kohaku-san, Natsune-san, Migawa, and me, who had the sword. No matter how strong Roaryuu was, with this lineup...
さすがにこの場は分が悪いか仕切り直した方が良さそうだな
Well said, coward.
今から門を開くから、せっかくだから歌詞を変えようじゃねえか。根方の仕掛けの最後の力。
Roaryuu approached Nakata-san, who had been defeated by Natsune-san and was unconscious.
根方宗次、娘の代わりにお前が払え。
He thrust down Ryu Geke into Nakata-san's body. The blood pouring out of Nakata-san's body flowed into the waterway. Well, I can't say I'm surprised that he doesn't live in this. Assuming that what I'm on right now is the path to the Grand End, and honestly, I don't see why it would be anything else. So, yeah, sad day for you. Although, now that I think about it, wasn't there like only one route where he got to actually live? And only one? Far off in the distance, something creaked and I heard an ominous sound.
水路の光が。この光は。
It wasn't on the level of the phosphorance given off by the rocks in the walls. The waterway gave off a bright light, staining the underground sanctuary in a lapis lazuli color.
ロウリュウ、貴様門を開いたな。
Don't you need the sword, though? Where is it? The noise I had heard earlier was the sound of the gate opening. I heard the thunderous roar of rushing water.
さて。
I wondered if the opened gate was a floodgate, as the roar of rushing water grew louder, and the water in the waterway receded. The water had all drained away, only the lapis lazuli light filled the waterway. Past the walls of the underground sanctuary to where it connected, the waterway continued in a straight path. Bright light flooded through past there. Roaryuu jumped into the waterway, where the water had already receded. His black form disappeared into the lapis lazuli light.
待て、バローリュウ。
Once we went past the waterway, we saw the opened gate. Outside the underground sanctuary, to the west of Urashima, at the bottom of the sea, that event had probably just occurred. That thing was probably the gate. The central area had 3 rectangular slabs of rock that were about 10 meters in length, looking like some sort of torii gate. From the center of the stone torii, the sea was pushed back in an ellipsis of about 30 meters in diameter, exposing the sea floor. It was probably due to the power of the gate. The water that was pushed back created a wall reflecting lapis lazuli light. The sea had parted. In an old movie I had seen, God had performed such a miracle, but more than that, I thought it was weird that the lapis lazuli light coming out of the stone gate, composed of 3 huge slabs of rock, reached here. If it were just 3 slabs of rock put together, I'd see the scenery on the other side. Instead, I saw lapis lazuli light. Past those stones was a different place different from this one. Roaryuu had escaped into the middle of that lapis lazuli light, and we followed after him. We're actually going in? We arrived in the middle of the lapis lazuli palace. The light had been so bright, but strangely, after we entered inside, the light became less glaring, and we could open our eyes. The corridor was filled with pure lapis lazuli light. And at the same time, it was filled with a chaotic mist. I'm surprised that we're not collapsing to the ground yet, considering what must be an unbelievable amount of this black miasma pouring in through this place. When the lapis lazuli light glimmered and became stronger, the mist contracted as if it were withering. However, even bathed within that light, chaotic forms of monsters lived within. The small sediments turned to something about the size of Roaryuu. Those type of monsters weren't any big deal.
邪魔をするな
With one large swing of my sword arm, I mowed through several of them. They turned back into being a formless fog of chaos. The chaotic power was voraciously devoured by my right arm. The vital points of my physical body could still bear more, and the power hadn't overflowed the lines of my body yet, but
翔子ちゃん
I couldn't handle this alone. It was galloping away like a runaway stallion. Nami used her thin hands and soul to pull me back. If Nami were by my side, that's why I could still fight.
ヒューおさやるじゃない
We could still fight. However, the opponents kept welling up one after the other. Though we defeated them, and defeated them,
キリがない
against those never-ending monsters.
そらそらそらそらえんやった
Kawaku-san's sword didn't stop as she continued to turn those monsters into fine dust. She continued slicing endlessly.
鬼若
Summoning a Shikigami, being a being close to pure power, in this chaotic place was dangerous since it might be dragged in. But Oniwaka was almost like a person, with a firm sense of self, and his existence would not waver. Fortunately, the Shikigami of Steel swung his iron fist close to his body as he, one by one, turned the Roaryuu into chaotic mud. Oniwaka was reliable and wouldn't waver. Was it because Kawaku-san was a superb Omiyuji? Or because Oniwaka was an ordinary Shikigami? Or perhaps it was both.
行くぞ
We continue down the long corridor of the Lapis Lazuli Palace.
ステン王神竜が舞の手竜巻
We defeated them and continued on.
しつこいチェ
As we continued on, we defeated the new opponents who came. As we cut open a long, continuous path of death, we moved deeper into the Lapis Lazuli Palace, not knowing when it would end.
マタム
Even Matamu's getting in on the action. My right sword arm could also tell that they were different from the Roaryuu and close to the large power that was Matamu.
ちょっと形が違うみたいだけど
形が少々違うだけで中身は結局同じだ
They were the same, but yet they weren't, since they were fragments of chaos.
鬼若行け
Oh, never mind. I thought Matamu was coming to help us. With twisted horns and 4 legs, the chaotic beast charged straight as a lance and was stopped by the Shikigami of Steel. He was a steel wall that could even withstand the attack of a battering ram. However, the burden on the Shiki was transferred back to the caster.
翔子ちゃん来ます
It wasn't limited to just one beast of calamity. It resembled a rat, an ox, a tiger, a rabbit, a dragon, and a snake. It resembled a horse, a ram, a monkey, a rooster, a dog, and a boar. And it also didn't resemble anything at all.
一匹でさえ手に余るっていうのに。ロウリュウさえ止めれば。ああ、そうだな。ロウリュウだろう。
Kawaku-san stopped moving.
翔子、剣を持ってるお前が行け。
お姉ちゃん、ここの子たちは私が抑えるから、お姉ちゃんは先輩と一緒に。
I appreciate your fighting spirit, Yasumi, but what exactly do you think you can do here?
翔ちゃん、行って。そしてどんな形でもいいから帰ってきて。
No matter what form I take, huh?
翔ちゃん、それだけ約束していって。あいつを殺せるとしたら。
おさん、今よ。
And seriously, of course I have to be the one to do this myself, while you all have to be heroic and stay behind in order to fend off the horde of demons. It's okay though. I've seen these kind of stories play out enough times to know that after suffering a few cuts and bruises, we'll come out on top here and probably deliver a monologue about an awe-inspiring monologue to the bad guy before he perishes. It's probably gonna be something like that, I bet. I looked back on everyone who was fighting with the beasts of calamity. Kawaku-san, Natsuni-san, Migiwa, Yasumi. Let's go. We'll settle everything with Roaryuu and come back to everyone here.
何？翔子ちゃん。
Well, I got Nami, so I guess that's technically a subversion of what I was thinking. And I held into Nami's hand and ran down the corridor of the Lapis Lazuli Palace. Cutting down the pieces of chaos that gathered around us, we ran down the corridor of the Lapis Lazuli Palace.
ここが瑠璃宮、瑠璃の都。
Nami and I finally arrived at the end of the corridor. The canopy was dome-shaped. Anyways, it was a large chamber that reminded me of the underground sanctuary we had been in earlier. No. The Nakata Sanctuary, dedicated to Kuro was probably based off of this Lapis Lazuli shrine, a remarkable holy precinct. Besides the entrance we used, there were 11 others, each about 30 degrees apart, making a total of 12, like the numbers on a clock. In the center of an altar like the one in the underground sanctuary, it emitted light that illuminated the Lapis Lazuli Palace. Like the Nakata one, discs of varying diameter were stacked on top of each other to make a cone-shaped step pyramid, but in truth, it wasn't like that. In the underground sanctuary, there had been canals dug up by the Nakata that had acted like waterways. However, it wasn't like that here. The original model was this Lapis Lazuli Palace, and different from the underground sanctuary. I couldn't see the bottom. Stretching out from that bottomless pit was the foundation of the sanctuary, glowing in Lapis Lazuli light, like a round pillar. It was a divine pillar that stretched from some other place to here. And at the same time, it was pillar that was driven into the ground. That marvelous, endless Lapis Lazuli pillar could jolt the earth, cause tsunamis, and was the cornerstone that sealed the dragon. It was a Sei no Kami, something that kept the god sealed at the bottom of that abyss and prevented it from exiting. In classic Chinese literature, Lapis Lazuli was written as the word for wandering. A wandering palace. This might be a place of exile, where dethroned gods would be kept and detained. And to us, this place was...
ここまで来たのはたったの二人か。
Unfortunately for me. The last and greatest stronghold of the Oni king, who had come from a foreign land. Everyone fought to let Nami and me reach here, and to also prevent the beasts of calamity he released from leaving the gate.
ここには無尽蔵の力があるとはいえ、少々手荒く歓迎しすぎたみてえだな。
満足？
いや、ここにある力はここでしか使うことができない。しかも門を開くのはあの仕掛けじゃ一回きりだ。のこのこ出た後閉まっちまったら、もう800年ほど入れねえだろうな。
I wondered what exactly was the meaning of using the power sealed in this wandering palace. Power takes on meaning when you can use it against something.
そこでだ、幼い証拠。お前は本当にいい時に来てくれた。よくぞここまで来てくれた。さあ、幼い証拠。剣の担い手よ。お前の腕にある鍵を。この流撃とまがんでもってもらい受けよう。
翔子ちゃん。
I patted Nami on the head as she tugged on my sleeve, giving me a worried look.
大丈夫。
As long as Nami was there, there was no need to be distressed. I would be able to swing this silver arm. A portion of my body was no longer human. It had been transformed by the sword into some other thing. Yeah, I think I get it now. She somehow absorbed the sword into her body through her missing right arm. My swing right now could be compared to that of Natsune-san, who became an Oni. It was like a flash of lightning. The Roaryuu was able to withstand even that.
さっきちらりと見たかもしれんが、俺のここの奥にはな。
Roaryuu moved back to gather some distance after we crossed swords. He used his pointer finger to tap his eye patch as he said that.
ちょいとした間違いで、とんでもないものが入っちまったのよ。
His fingers grabbed the reverse side of his eye patch.
すっかりやばいのに怪我されちまってな。
The sealed mystic eye revealed itself once again.
目ってのは脳みそに直結している唯一の感覚器官なわけだが、俺が少しばかりおかしいのはこいつのせいかもしれねえな。
Well, I guess that could explain why you're such an evil bastard. If I looked into his eye, I would be killed. That might not be entirely a joke. In all likelihood, a normal person of no resistance would die just by looking into that mystic eye. Even if I didn't look at it directly, it would slow the brain, strike the heart, cause my limbs to vibrate, and weaken me. Because of that, I couldn't block Roaryuu's attacks. Jeez, this really wasn't a joke. You must be kidding me. The chaos contained in Roaryuu's eye was like a beam, and there was no doubt that he was efficient in wielding his own power. However, I contained far more chaos within my body. My arm could surely withstand even that mystic eye. I could definitely dodge and avoid that mystic eye.
銀の鏡だと。
Well, here's an idea. Reflect that eye back at you and see what happens. My silver arm, which had changed from a human arm to a sword, became like a mirror and reflected Roaryuu's gaze.
ロウリュウ、動きが止まったわよ。
Ha!
撃ち抜け、その一点をうがて。
The hero who became invincible after being bathed in dragon's blood lost his life due to a leaf that had struck him. If the source of Roaryuu's power was the chaos residing in that eye of his. Water flows from a higher area to a lower area. Something small will be swallowed up by something bigger.
お前のその目の混沌も私の腕がもらい受ける。
何？
The chaos residing in my arm changed from the form of a mirror, which had been used to reflect his mystic eye, and turned into a long spear, longer than even Ryugeki, and able to reach a far distance. Beautiful. I bore into the silver eye patch that protected his eye. My arm was the divine sword of the Dragon Palace. It was the sacred treasure, Kinkobu, that the great sage equal to heaven had stolen from the Dragon Palace. I could change its form at will and stretch out endlessly, and it was a cast-off of the chaos that slept in the abyss of the sea.
弟子の弟子。なるほど。弟子が子ならば、お前は孫か。俺は甘やかしいのじいちゃんじゃねえぜ。孫に倒されるなんて、まっぴらごめんだ。
Before I could steal the chaos in his left eye, he turned around, used his right hand to pull it out himself, and raise it up. Ah, that must be painful.
渡すか。お前ごとき小娘に渡すかよ。
From his clenched fist that was raised up high, chaos poured out. As if that one drop were like a pump, drawing water. It overcame the barrier of the deity around the pillar that gave off the pure lapis lazuli light. From the deep abyss at the end of the world, the tsunami-like chaos came, calling on its brethren to devour this place. It went past the edges of the gap and stretched out farther still. It covered the cornerstone that had been given off pure lapis lazuli light. It blocked whatever area it could, as the pace of the overflow accelerated.
なんならお前もより大きな混沌に飲み込まれて消えちまえ。
The lapis lazuli light had already disappeared.
俺は先に
along with Roaryuu's body, which was swallowed by those swirling currents and vanished. A whirlwind of chaos, a piece of the god known as Korokuru, manifested itself as I watched. So we actually get to see this thing now. It writhed and squirmed as it constantly changed its form. It really was like a piece of chaos. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. When all those brilliant colors were gathered, it would make white light. If that were the case, then this dark abyss of the sea god was an inverse sun. The swirling calamity of power stretched up like a snake rearing its head. Lower down, it was like the tentacles of an octopus.
ヤマタノオロチ。
If my hand, the sword which was the key, was a part of that thing, if it was the Kusanagi sword, one of the three sacred treasures of Japan, born from the tail of that giant snake, if the thing that Roaryuu had summoned from beyond the door was a cast-off child of Korokuru, I wondered if it was the eight-tailed monster serpent, also known as the Curse God.
そうはわだつみの分けみたま。
Nami chanted as if she was singing. Her sharp, ringing voice filled the middle of the lapis lazuli palace.
黒クルーのかけらたる津波をいざなう潮蜜玉。潮蜜玉。見て、翔子ちゃん。あの穴の底からとめどなく溢れてくる。要石は光っているのに。 あれでは効きません。
This level of light could no longer hold back the chaos.
あれをなだめて連れて行かないと。
If we didn't do that, then this gate would break open, and it would exit from this wandering palace.
行くの。
行きます。でも翔子ちゃん、
It was too not much for Nami to handle by herself.
まったく仕方ないわね。
There really was no helping it.
私のこの右腕はあれを連れて行くにはいい餌だろうしね。
If I could use it like a water pump, I could draw that thing away from here. With this arm, wouldn't I be able to lead it back to where it had originated?
私がもらったコンだけではあの混沌は導けない。
Nami reached her hand out towards me.
私がもらった白だけではあの混沌は従えられない。
I tightly gripped Nami's hand.
行こう翔子ちゃん。
行こうナミ。
And then, we headed off in order to draw that thing away from here.
あの闇の彼方へ。
Wait, that's it? Well, come on. What happened? Did they do it? Are we gonna see that after the credits are done? We better see something here after the credits here that perfectly wraps everything up. Otherwise, I'm gonna cry foul at this.
時の流れ止めた魔法はもう眠り続けた囚われの日をつないだ鎖を落ちて崩れ去ってた飛ばしたこの手を遮るものもない目を開ければ眩しく差し込む光水面まで向かうこの広い海に漂う二人寄り添い離れないように揺られて水面まで向かう水天の色が重なるその淡い声遠くまで二人なら知らぬなら東雲のなぎ近い先も知れぬ闇夜はもう月がいざなうわだつみの死をよどんだ昨日抱いて今を
Okay, we got something else. Good. It was warm. I was floating in a sea of darkness. We were drifting about in the middle of a warm darkness. That's right. We were... I remembered the feeling of holding hands. I remembered that smell. That small white hand that was so different from my own. In the middle of this chaos where everything was perfectly blended, I remembered her, who didn't exist here.
私はナミを覚えている。私は翔子ちゃんを覚えている。私たちは覚えている。私たちが一つではないことを。あなたが他の何者でもないあなたであったことを。私たちは別の体と別の心を持つ他人だから。これはナミの体だ。これは翔子ちゃんの体。
We were created from within that chaos. Breaking off from it, we left that chaos behind. My consciousness floated up from the darkness. I realized from the location of the light that I was lying down. The white world was close to nullity. Slowly, the intensity of the light lowered, tinting my eyelids with a soft red glow.
ここは
I could hear the sound of waves. The flowing waves brushed against my ear, which was against the ground. The ebbing waves dredged the sand beneath me. My sense of hearing and my sense of touch. The smell of the tide and the taste of salt water in my mouth. The sense of smell and the sense of taste. I had all 5 of my senses.
ここは砂浜。
So it is.
進行上カーソルを合わせると章台が表示されるわよ。
Yep, we're right at the bottom.
クイックロードしたわよ。
Oh god, what did I do?
私はこれ2度目だわ。
The first time I had been with Nami too.
翔子ちゃん、私はこれで3度目です。
The first time she had been by herself. The second time had been with me.
さすがに休みはいないわね。
Whether it was her intuition as a twin sister, Yasumi had been the first to find Nami both times prior.
疲れてお寺で寝てるんじゃないですか？
We suddenly found something funny as we looked at each other and laughed. It'll be okay. I could still smile. No matter what happens from here on out, if I was with Nami, I could endure it all and keep smiling. I stood up, brushed the sand off me, and stretched out my hand towards Nami.
行こう、ナミ。翔子ちゃん。
I gently returned the grip of our linked hands and pulled, helping Nami to stand up. We didn't know how much time had passed since that time. No time might have passed at all. Or perhaps many days had passed. Or perhaps it had been years. Or decades. Or even centuries. We might have become like Orochimaru, but it would be okay. I squeezed the hand I was holding.
行こう。みんなが待ってる。
No matter what happens in the future, if I'm with Nami, it'll be okay. I won't cry, and will continue to smile. Well, they're all okay. The moment I heard their voices, the tears started to overflow.
翔子先輩、津波お姉ちゃん、生きてた。ざわちざわち。長先輩もナミもやっぱりちゃんと
good to see you too, Shrimp.
翔子さん、ナミちゃん、おかえりなさい。
And you too, Princess.
信じてました。いろいろ怒ったり怒鳴ったりしたいことがあるんだけどね。先生、そんなの水に流すから。
Just as long as you don't give us that terrifying look I saw in the previous episode, I'll be quite happy.
二人とも無事でよかったわ。
こっちはこっちで大変だったのよ。いくら大鳥飾ったからって遅刻してるんじゃないわよ。
今度は私、翔ちゃんが生きているって信じていたわ。帰ってくるって約束、守ってくれてありがとう。
ようやくこれで終わりだな。まあよく帰ってきた。
まっことめでたい。めでたいですな。今日はごちそうにいたしましょう。
How generous of you. Everyone was here. Everyone we knew was here, as we knew them, unchanged.
翔子ちゃん、ナミ。
That's why I wiped away my tears of joy and greeted everyone with a smile.
ただいま。環境設定を保存するけど、それでいい？
Okay, I think we've kind of glossed over quite a few important details that led us to this point, like how exactly did we take care of the dragon god, how did everybody exactly manage to get out okay, etc., etc. But I mean, well, clearly the game doesn't think those details are all that important. The important thing is we somehow managed to save the day, and well, we all got a happy ending. Good for us.
セーブ。青い。
Oh, hello. Tile screen's different now. And I believe this is a new thing right here. I have no idea what this is. So I probably shouldn't mess with it.
どの用語を調べた
Okay,
い
now I
わ。
want to look at the ending
Aoi
list. I
Shiro.
think it's right
ど
here.
の結末を見たいわけ？
Looks like the grand ending to me right here. But I still need to find this ending right here. So, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a good look at the flowchart and then
Aoi
try to
Shiro.
figure out where this thing is. And then, once I have an idea of where it is, figure out what I need to do to get to it. So, the flowchart's here, yes?
どの用
No,
語？
that's encyclopedia again.
青い白。カーソルを合わせると章題が表示されるわよ。
Okay, looks like there's still that branch here I could try as well. So I think I'll load back a previous save, try see if I can get to this different branch right here first. And then, if that doesn't get me anywhere, I could also try seeing what this little spot here on Yasumi's portion of the flowchart is about. I don't know exactly how long I'm going to spend trying to find this thing. I think I'm going to try to work at least 10 to 15 minutes at it on both portions of flowchart, the grand end portion and Yasumi's. And if I go at this long enough and I don't get any results, I'll just go ahead and cut off to our ending portion of the video. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you with at this final ending. So, wish me luck. I don't get it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I've been working at this for over 40 minutes now. I went back several times all the way to the beginning portion of the flowchart from Yasumi's portion of it here, made different decisions here while making sure that I'd get to this part of the flowchart, and I can't get this last ending. I even did a quick Google search at this not too long ago, because I was getting so frustrated here, not getting any results. See if I could find some kind of walkthrough or something here that could help me find this last ending, and yet I'm not finding a thing. So I really don't know what's going on here. Maybe there was something, and maybe there was like one or two things somewhere in the game here that are so obscure that I didn't do, that I need to do first before this last end becomes available. But I have no idea where to begin to look if that's the case. So, fuck. I really don't want to end things on this note here, but I don't know what else to do. I guess there's some short stories. Yeah, there's some short stories here in the main menu that I guess I could look at. I don't know how long they are though, so if they're notable in length, then I think what I'll probably do is at least number one, find these things first, and then I don't know, like maybe make an extra video or two covering these short stories.
Success.
Anyway, maybe I should actually just take a look and find these things. Okay, I think this is CG. This one? Well, looks like I found them. That was easy. I take it that this is Aoi Sensei's friend that she went up to meet. Don't know about this one though.
Aoi Shiro.
You know, I never bothered to actually look at what these other options are too. Anyway, that's the same one I just selected.
Aoi Shiro.
What the hell is this? Oh. Is this a hack and slash game? Well, okay. Interesting. I have no idea what this game is exactly, besides, well, the obvious from the gameplay standpoint, so why don't I just go back to the main menu?
Aoi Shiro.
Well, okay, for a second I thought I chose that mini-game thing again, whatever the hell that is. I guess that's... I have no idea if that game I just saw here is a wholly separate game that's not really tied to Aoi Shiro or not. So I really have no idea whether or not I even want to try to cover that. These last two stories, though, I think I just might. But at the very least, I mean, unless I can find something later on here that'll help me find this last missing ending that I'm looking for, then I don't know what else to do other than cover those short stories at the very least. Yeah, this one end right here. So, I think what I'll do is I'll make an extra video where I cover, at the very least, those two other different short stories that I just found in the menu. See what those are about. And if I happen to come across any information that could help me find our missing ending right here on this list, I'll try to see if I can also cover that final ending too. Otherwise, for now, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and consider the main Let's Play finished. Anything else I cover will just be an extra video or two at that point, not tied to the main LP. Wow. We're done. I don't remember when exactly I even started this Let's Play, but I know it's been well over half a year. Like 8 months at least. Just... I didn't know how long exactly it was going to take me to get through this thing, but it certainly felt like a saga at times. Not that I say that's necessarily a bad thing or anything, but thinking about how long I've taken on this game, it just, damn, just most Let's Plays I've done up to this point haven't lasted anywhere near this long. On a single game, at least. Unless you count Higurashi, my other ongoing series, as all part of the same series, which I personally do, despite the different chapters being separated. And then there's going to be me covering something called the console arcs for that chapter, so God knows how long it's going to take me to get through Higurashi. But that's a wholly unrelated topic, honestly, so whatever. So I'm not too fond of giving at length reviews or impressions or whatever of games that I recently complete, because I tend to go over these things in my head, maybe even replay them on my own time, and then see if there's maybe a few details that I noticed that really change my perspective on the entire game as a whole. So my final comprehensive thoughts on the game as a whole are going to have to sit in the oven for a bit, in other words. But as far as first impressions go, despite some issues I've had here regarding finding some of these endings on this list here, and how the methods of coming them were rather difficult to figure out at points, and that some of the endings themselves were rather quick and anticlimactic. Overall, I'd say I had a pretty good time with Aoi Shiro. It wasn't exactly the most, it's not exactly a very complex story and character. It's not a complex story to understand or get into. Character arcs are relatively simple, straightforward to understand as well. Although I do feel that in the case of Kohaku's route in particular, that there were some plot threads I felt could have been developed a bit more, like Shioko training with Kohaku more rather than just that one night, and maybe forming a stronger connection with her over those training sessions. I felt like that's something that could have been done, because how her route ended up turning out, as it ended up turning out now, felt kind of short and underdeveloped compared to the other characters' routes. Like, there wasn't really as strong of a connection between Shioko and Kohaku that formed that I feel that there should have been, you know? Especially given some very interesting revelations that we discover on her route in particular, and how they could have played a role, how they could have played even a minor role with strengthening the relationship between the two characters, like Shioko having access to some of Yasuhime-sama's memories and all that. Otherwise, it was just mostly minor details between the different characters' routes here regarding certain elements that probably could have been fleshed out a bit more, like Shioko's relationship to her vice captain, Aoi Shiro, and all that. But overall, again, I wouldn't say I would say I had a pretty good time with this game. It wasn't the most complex and it wasn't the most complex of plots and the most engaging as a result, but I still enjoyed it. I'd still recommend it. pretty. It's a pretty passable piece of work if you want something not too complex to just get into. And I mean, and for what it's worth, I rather like the setting, and I rather like the setting and the lore behind it all. It was all pretty interesting. There's a shit ton of knowledge about Japanese folklore and history and all that here that I'm probably going to be forgetting most of come a few months' time, but for what it's worth, I mean, it was all very interesting, given how all this information played in the story and setting proper. It made the game's world feel very immersive, and that's certainly a detail I can really appreciate, if nothing else. That's definitely a very notable strength in this game's favor, is its setting and world building. It didn't feel boring to me, at least. But it just, in turn, also makes me wish that the game that apparently takes place before this one here ended up getting a fully completed fan translation. Because, yeah, this game is supposed to be a sequel to another game that came out a few years before it. And there was someone who was doing a fan translation of it on the PC, I don't remember if there was if there was a PC version of that game or not, but all I know is that there was someone doing a fan translation of the game, but the project seemingly died or something towards when it came close to completion. So that whole fan translation just ended up being left hanging, and so there's just only people, a whole bunch of people here on our side, on the western side of the globe, who could only play the sequel game, Aoi Shiro, since that was pretty much the only game out of the two that had a full translation of the main story done. It just makes me think that with all the stuff I've learned about in this game's setting and how the different Japanese folklore, demons, and all that stuff came into play here, what kind of role would all this stuff have played in that other game? It just makes me want to experience this world more than what I got here. But since I can't really read Japanese kanji to save my life, I'm kind of screwed on that point. Really sucks. But yeah, I really don't know what else to say about Aoi Shiro beyond what I've already mentioned, without going on into long, possibly all over the place tangents about characters, details. Although I guess I could finish things off by at least saying who I think my favorite characters are in this whole game is. I liked Kohaku the best out of all the characters roused. I felt she was the most interesting character of the whole bunch, and also the coolest. But again, the earlier problems I mentioned regarding her route here, I felt ended up impacting the overall quality of Kohaku's route in a negative way. Like, not in a super bad way or anything like that, to where it really has a noticeable impact over the overall experience, but again, I just felt that there were certain aspects to Kohaku's route that I felt could have been fleshed out more, that would have made it a lot more interesting than what we ended up getting, especially compared to the other characters' routes. Otherwise, besides our big bad Roaryuu, there really wasn't anybody in this game's story that I disliked on it in any way. And well, Momoko is my second favorite because she's just endlessly entertaining. It's a shame, though, that she never got to experience the wonders of human meat when presented with a lack of animal protein to consume. Because I'm pretty sure that if she did, she'd realize, hey, I wasn't so lacking in meat on this little island after all. But then again, cannibalism is bad, so maybe I should be glad that she didn't resort to cannibalism. But seriously, I always enjoyed when Momoko was around. I can understand why some people might find a character like her to be annoying, but me personally, I like cheerful, hyper energetic girls like her. There's rarely a dull moment around when someone like that is nearby, you know? And well, I appreciate having somebody like that around, whether it's in a work of fiction or in real life. But that's just me. So, yeah. I don't really have anything else to say here. So, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end things here. Like I said, if I come across information regarding this last ending here, what I can do to get it, then I will, at the very least, make a short video covering this ending and make it an extra. But since I think I'm also going to cover those extra short stories as well, I'll probably just lump them all together once I can figure out, if I can figure out, what the deal is with this one ending. Otherwise, at the very least, I'll at least try to see if maybe I can get those 2 other short stories covered, if nothing else. But this one little square here is going to keep bothering me, because I hate seeing it. It's just, you know, I'm so close and yet so far to getting all of these endings. And yet again, I can't figure out what exactly I'm doing wrong here. So maybe I'll have to get somebody's help on this here who's a lot more knowledgeable about the game than I am. And speaking of people who know about this game much better than I do, I want to give a very special thank you to 2 different people who really helped me out during this Let's Play when I was really stuck at a couple points. YouTube user Wakamoon and Discord user Silvercover. Without your guys' help and your information regarding this game and some of the routes and how to get some of the harder to reach endings, I would have been tearing my hair out at a couple points trying to figure out what to do. So, I really want to thank you both for the information that you gave me when you did, when I needed to consult it. You guys saved me a ton of headaches, and I really, really appreciate you for it. I hope you both enjoyed my I hope you both in particular enjoyed my Let's Play of Aoi Shiro. I'm glad you recommended. I'm glad that you guys recommended it to me. Again, it's not. Again, Aoi Shiro is not exactly what I'd call what exactly I'd call the most compelling or complex game I've played in a while, but I still very much enjoyed it. That's not a criticism of it or anything like that. So, yeah, thank you for recommending this game to me. I had fun with it. And I hope that you'll continue to stick around and check out Let's Plays of other games that you requested that I cover in the future, when I can finally get around to them. I'm pretty sure that some of the other titles that you guys requested that I cover will be pretty interesting games as well. But yeah, again, thank you for all the help that you've given me. So, as of now, the main Let's Play of Aoi Shiro is well and truly finished, as far as I'm concerned. When I can get around to making that extra video covering the 2 short stories in that other portion of the main menu, well, it'll be ready when it's ready, and you guys will see it within the subscription feed on YouTube and whatnot. Otherwise, I'm going to be moving on to my next Let's Play series after Aoi Shiro, The Devil on G-String, also known as G Senjo no Mao. I hope that some of you who chose to watch this Let's Play all the way from of Aoi Shiro all the way from the beginning to the end, and got some enjoyment out of it, might consider sticking around and seeing what will be in store for me with that game. Otherwise, if not, then well, hey, I'm glad I kept your attention at least this long. But yeah, seriously, I hope those of you who checked out my Let's Play of Aoi Shiro did get some enjoyment out of it at least, And if you did and you want to see more content from me, then, well, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all for my next series. Take care.